Welcome to Luke and Lewis, very special guest episode. Welcome to the podcast, the most interesting man I know, Greeley. Welcome, mate.
What an intro.
Thank you.
You're not the nicest, you're not the best man he knows, but you are the most interesting.
I'll take that.
I think that's true. Rapper, doing comedy now, been to prison. You've been homeless for most of our friendship, kinda. You know.
Oh, yeah, there was a good period of definitely homelessness.
But like a fun
homelessness,
you know,
I would say nomadic behavior, not really homeless.
Like-
you weren't begging, you were just like floating between
I'd
couches.
say
Well, there's a
absolutely no
difference.
reason to be homeless.
Yeah,
That's what it
I
was.
think I preferred it that way.
You like that better than a bed?
Yeah, I don't now. I'm like in my 30s now, and it hurts. So like, I had a good period of couch surfing where it was acceptable, but now if I sleep on a couch, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Because it was maybe 18 months, I would talk to you every couple of weeks and you would just be in a different state, in a different town, on a different couch.
yeah, I called it the lurk.
Yeah.
Like, it's not being homeless, it's just lurking.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just go
You're a
on the lurk.
professional lurker.
Yeah, I definitely am. I was getting paid to do it. So.
Yeah, so did it start off just like rap tours came, and then that just turned into professionally lurking? You were like, Crash went for the show.
Well, when I was a teenager, I got kicked out of school and I was sent to live with my father in America. And he was a truck driver. And so I spent about 9 months on the road with him in America, driving from LA to New York down through Texas. And then I did that for 9 months, and then came back to Tassie and it was just like, oh, true. You can't.
Yeah,
Very
beds
small
are heaps
place.
overrated.
Yeah, well, just it's a small place, it's like 4 hours to get from the top to the bottom, where America, it takes a week to get from one side to the other. And so as soon as I got an opportunity to leave Tasmania, which was for rap battles in 2010, I just went with it. And because I'd explored a country that I hadn't grown up, I just wanted to explore the country that we had, and using hip hop and rap battles at the time, which were blowing up heaps, was a perfect opportunity to make friends everywhere and, find that hustle and keep moving.
And I assume you only are friends with people if they have a significantly sized couch.
No, that's not true. I've slept on floors. I've slept.
Oh, really? They just need kind of a residence almost.
As long as they can rhyme words together, I'm sweet.
Yeah, it's a lot harder now. You've got a girl. I got a call from Greeley when he was coming here. He goes, "Oh man, can we stay at yours?" I said, "Yeah, man, I've got a great big couch." And he goes, "Ooh, just a couch?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'll find somewhere else."
Yeah.
Needs at least a double bed, a guest room.
Yeah. I'm growing up.
Yeah.
I'm growing up.
How old are you now?
I'm 31.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So you
31.
just moved on from your couch.
I turned
phase.
30 when I was in prison, and I was like, I can't. I can't be doing this forever. You know what I mean? And I was in Supermax, stuck in a cell with this bloke called Dennis. I think I talked about him on this other podcast. And that was a pivotal day for me, where I was like, I need to have a bit more stability in my life.
So the clock strikes.
Did you and Dennis celebrate?
He didn't even say happy birthday till about
Oh.
9 p.m. I was sitting on the top bunk the whole time, just like, when's this cunt going to say it? I had to listen to him take a shit this morning. Wake up, it was my birthday present.
The least you could do is just a happy birthday mid shit
Yeah,
and an apology.
yeah.
So maybe we should just do a quick recap for people of who Greeley is, as quick as we can. Anyway,
I feel like we've really set the tone early of who he is as a person, but I guess we could tell people what he's accomplished. But I think people can grasp who Greeley is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Australian hip hop artist.
Yes.
You've been in heaps and heaps of rap battles.
Yeah.
You would watch any rap battle before 2017. Greeley's either in it or in the background of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to host a lot of them.
Yeah.
Battled all around the country, battled everyone that was the best at the time. And I've also, more these days, I've built myself of contributing to hip hop culture and helping the young guys come up, and I'm really about the culture of it. And so that's what I've kind of established myself as someone that's always given back to the sort of, I guess, traditional scene of Australian hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say
You help guys come up is it Wombat?
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. I found Wombat when he was just starting out, and he'd had a couple songs and videos out there, And I really I took him to the studio, made a bunch of videos for him, and spent a year just pushing him.
Yeah.
And look at Wombat now.
He's huge.
He's huge, and he's about to go on tour, and he's already selling out two shows in every city.
Sick.
That's
So
great.
and for a 25-year-old from Tasmania, and he's from a suburb where there's no opportunities.
Oh, that's Tasmania.
The
suburb.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's it's not really like a suburb in Tasmania that
It's
has
just
no opportunities.
Tasmania.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
it's just
suburb.
the island.
Tassie.
Well, yeah, if Tassie's disadvantaged, he's from the more disadvantaged area. So
Jesus, he's from Antarctica. You were saying that the other day you went to the southernmost pub in the world, which is at the bottom of Tasmania.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was so close to such a, I don't know, like a cool sounding pub. I think we should go, Keelan.
Luke's booking flights.
Yeah, I was real
yeah.
close to booking flights.
we went to the pub and we kind of sussed it out and see if it was possible to do a gig.
Is it a good pub?
Yeah, it's like a pretty classic mariner sort of pub. Heaps of like old boat memorabilia and wheels on the walls and stuff like that.
I love
full of
pubs.
heaps of. There was a bikie there that had a patch on, and I was like, "What club's he?" And it just said anti-child molesters.
What a good club. Can I join?
Yeah.
I want to join.
Yeah, it
I
was
feel like
just,
everyone's like feels like they're a member of that one.
I don't-
you don't really have to wear a fucking patch to be like, I don't know about that.
I think it should be the other way around. If you're pro child molesters, you have to wear
You
a
have to wear a
patch.
patch to out yourself.
I think that should be more
Yeah.
encouraged.
I agree.
and then a couple guys recognised me down there. I wasn't sure, but I think they were from more northern and they were down there fishing or something like that.
Because you toured you did something that I previously thought was just humanly impossible.
Yeah.
Like probably the most impressive thing I've ever seen anyone done, which is tour regional Tasmania.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was. I thought Tasmania
It
was
is regional, yeah. Well, so this is how it happened. My partner Danny and I, we made a lot of music together last year, and we got back to Tassie around October after getting stuck all around the country
Yeah.
with Corona, and we did my album launch just when they were allowing restrictions to go back to standing. It was like the same week that they went back to standing, and it was only like 100 capacity. I did my album launch because I recorded my album during Corona, and I was, waiting to finally launch it. And our plan was to head up to Sydney because Denny does a lot of theatre work as well, and she builds puppets, and she was working in Sydney for a festival up there just after New Year's. And then boom, Corona happened, and the whole festival had to get shut down. And our plan was to go up
you
there.
left prison and then COVID happened and you couldn't leave yet.
What was that like, stepping out of prison into another prison?
Well,
it was good, man. I had weed in the internet. It's a lot better.
I talked to Greeley on the phone after he got out, and he's like, "Man, what's it like in Melbourne?" I'm like, "Man, we haven't left the house. It's like prison." And he just goes, "Is it?"
Is it really?
Yeah, dude, feel the room.
And I went, "Okay, maybe it's not anything like prison, but I'm still sad."
Yeah. Yeah, fully. No, it was all right. And luckily I was in a good space where I had access to a recording studio and also videographers. So I just made content the whole time.
Yeah.
And
What's the, it was my favorite lyric of one of your songs. It's about the tattoo on your face.
Yes,
People may not be able to
also
see
my
it.
favourite.
If you zoom in, you'll be able to see it. You got a picture of Tassie on your face.
I sure do.
What's the lyric?
The
great.
chorus goes, "I'm big grills, mate, I'm happy in my state. Call me the face of Tassie, I got Tassie on my face, big grills."
That's such a sick line.
The funny thing is, I wrote that song in prison before I got the tattoo.
So you needed to get the tattoo.
Yeah. I wrote the song and I was like, I need to get this tattoo, otherwise it's going to be awkward.
Yeah, you called me like, "I've written this. Is it?" Because it's a great line, but is it good enough to get a face tattoo?
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, it's sick. Get it."
Yeah. And
I'm
the morning
the
I got
face
out, luckily, my mate who's a tattooist works at a shop like 3 blocks away from the prison. So we got out of the prison, went got the face tat, and then went got breakfast.
I bet the guards would have watched you from the towers leave the prison and go straight to a tattoo shop for a face tat, and they would have gone, "He'll be back."
I bet you that's like where most people go after prison. If it's on the way.
Yeah.
You know.
That is a good spot for
Dude,
a tattoo
I'm the
parlor.
face of Tassie because I got Tassie on my face is got to be the best rap line I've ever heard. Knowing
thank you,
that
bro.
you have a tattoo of Tasmania.
100%. Well,
You must be the only human in the world with a tattoo of Tasmania on their face.
Yeah, I haven't
There's no one else would have that.
No, I haven't met any. I know a lot of people with Tassie tattoos.
Yeah, but
Tassie
not on their
tattoos. Not on their
face.
face. I know one's got a whole back, like a full back of a Tassie.
That's almost bigger than Tasmania.
Fuck, that is crazy.
And because I got my,
It's almost to scale.
I got my second head.
Well, their
removed,
brother
like-
needs something to look at while they fuck.
Yeah. Are you sick of that by now? Even I'm sick of that.
It's
The
just-
incest jokes. Yeah, I don't
just
mind
incest
prison colony
everywhere.
stuff.
There's just incest everywhere, though. Like in Sydney, they found an incest community of like 40 people,
When?
like 4 years ago.
fuck.
But it disappeared in a day of Facebook news. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing is, the original incest story of Tasmania happened in like early 1900. And that got in the newspaper and circulated the country, which gave us this 100-year-long reputation.
It's
Yes.
still going.
That's still, I was,
Yeah.
like Tassie, if anything, is more popular than ever. And the trendy guys are like, oh, it's nice down there. And
Well,
it's lost
Tassie
its
is
stigma.
pricing out all Tasmanians.
Yeah, it's
like the
ridiculous.
property market.
It is lovely. As Lewis was saying before we started the podcast, it's kind of like our New Zealand. It's the only place that seems like untouched by us.
It's and at the same
Almost.
time, it's still definitely touched. Like, if you look on Google Maps and go to Tassie, it looks like it has acne because and when you drive around doing the tour, you see how much forestry has been logged. And if you look at the map, you can see the patches. Like,
Yeah, right.
Forestry is pretty putrid, and they're just ruining heaps of the you've got some of the oldest trees in the world down there, like trees
Yeah.
bigger than this entire room, and
They're cutting them down
they're
for a
cutting
few
them
bucks.
down. Yeah,
It is sad. Tassie does seem to have like this ruling elite that the ruling elite in Australia don't give a fuck about, so they can do whatever they want.
yeah, they definitely do. I grew up with a lot of protesters that used to go and tie themselves to trees and chain themselves to the bulldozers, and two of my mates were the first protesters in Australia to do jail time for tying themselves to a tree, and there was a strong culture of that. Like,
What's the crime there?
the crime in Tassie?
No, what's the crime of tying yourself to a tree? Like, what is the actual crime?
I'm not sure what
You've
they were
committed.
charged with.
Being annoying on the fifth degree.
Like, is it just not following police orders or
Yeah.
disrupting?
Disrupting or obstructing something, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure.
Because if
But
it's
the
in
thing is,
public,
Tasmania's got the strongest protest laws in the country as well. So
like
it's-
anti-protest laws.
Yeah, anti-protest laws. So they try and shut down a lot, and the people that do run it, they're trying to be a bit more woke now and doing things for social media and all that. But really, it's run by like even a few years ago, I tried to get an anti-suicide bridge. Or a barrier, put on the Tasman Bridge, and I did a big petition. I lost heaps of mates to suicide to this bridge, and ended up meeting the mayor and the Minister of Infrastructure, and they just kind of sat there and faffed on, and then asked for a selfie at the end of it, and nothing ever happened. And then they put the selfie up like, we're working with the youth, and then the Minister of Infrastructure got kicked out of the government for some rapey shit he did in the 80s.
and that's why nothing ever gets done
Yeah.
for a series of reasons. One, because they probably wouldn't have helped you anyway,
Yeah.
and two,
Bit of raping.
don't
going on.
rape.
Yeah, just covering up rape in Parliament as per usual,
Yeah. Yeah,
So, it's...
you should have been wearing a patch. And then you would have known.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So what was it like touring regional Tassie? How many shows did you do?
Oh, we did, I think about 9 or 10.
I didn't even know there were 10 pubs in Tassie,
Well, it's a pretty big place, like in certain ways. It's about, from the bottom to the top, you're looking at about 7-hour drive.
Yeah.
But just like population alone, though, like when we go there, I haven't ever done a show in Hobart, but this year I'm gonna try and do Launceston and Hobart.
Yeah, well, I'll be living in Launceston, so make
Yeah,
sure you do.
sick.
And I can
Hell
get
yeah,
behind
man.
it, you know
Hell
what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, but it's like one of those things where I wasn't even confident doing shows in Launceston and Hobart because like just population alone compared to like we can go to like Bendigo and there's almost as many people in Bendigo as like Launceston and stuff. So it's like, how do you do places in, you did one in a place called Franklin?
Yeah, so Franklin is a really small drive-through town with like a 200-year-old pub and then this little kind of pub next to it. And this is a pretty good yarn. So we get down there.
That's how he starts every story.
Yeah, it's
Literally,
a good one.
though, Greeley always has the best stories, and they always start with, "This is a good yarn."
Yeah, it's a good yarn.
That's
trust
because he
me.
has to go through the Rolodex of good yarns.
Yeah. Shuffle through the
Today,
cabinet.
This one, you know.
So we get right. So we're trying to find a venue down there, and we tried this place called Willie Smith's Apple Cider Shed, and that's a bit more ritzy.
Yeah.
You know, guy on guitar in the corner, and everyone's having cider and whatever. And we tried to book one there, and they said to my partner Denny, it's probably a little bit ritzy for you guys. We'll send you this guy's number, and we're like, email? They're like, no, no emails, number. So we sent him a message. Hey mate, you know, it's a little bit of a proposal. Like, we'd like to do a show, blah blah blah. We'll bring the sound system, we'll run the door, all that sort of stuff. And he just wrote back at 1 a.m. Yeah, mate, no worries. Spelt wrong.
All of it.
Yeah, and Denny and I were like, we're in for something interesting here.
Yeah.
So we get there.
Oh, so that was it.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, mate, no worries, and then you just rocked up with a show.
Yeah, that's it. It was like, we agreed on the date.
I don't know if people I don't think our audience maybe has no perspective of how a show's usually organized, but that's not usually the process.
It's usually like
contracts,
8 months in advance,
8 months-
deposits.
contracts. I would say usually an email thread of about 30 back and forth emails by the time you've organized one.
Fully.
No wases.
Yes, no wases.
Yeah, no worries. That's how I think it should be done.
That's
Yeah.
great.
It's just, can I do a show? Yep, good.
Yeah.
Done.
So we finally get down there, and we get down there, and there's just like this giant old classic sort of country pub with the corner stairs, you know, and there's these two old blokes sitting out the front, and they're eyeing us off like, who's here, you know, and we walk over, and they're like, next door. And so we go over to next door, and it's this little kind of, it's called the Next Door Bar, and we walk in, and there's this bloke with a big beard.
It's actually called Next Door.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I bet you it's because these two blokes have been bodyguarding this place for 40 years every Friday.
Yeah,
Being like, next door. What should we call the pub?
We'll get to the bloke from the actual pub in a bit. So we get to the Next Door Bar, and there's this like short little bikey looking fella with a big beard sitting at the bar smoking a big joint. And we're like, hey mate, we're here for the show. And he's like, all right. Puts his joint out. He's like, better get me Harley out the bar. And like starts pulling his Harley motorbike out of the bar.
Yeah.
And on the side of the pub, there's a big painting of a cat. And I'm like, oh, it's a nice painting of a cat. He's like, yeah, it's a cat that lives here. And then the cat just walks out. And there's backpackers camped all around the other side of the old pub. Just like, you look to the side and there's just tents and Europeans everywhere. And yeah, so we set up the show. We did it. We ended up, that was the smallest show of the tour, and we only booked it a week before. Made a poster and put it up. Like, that's, no wuzzes, made a poster, put it on Facebook, went there a week later, and I think about 70 people rocked up.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's the thing in Tassie, it's small town. So and no one goes there apart from maybe old country singers, Sunday afternoon.
Did you get a few people showing up that had no idea who you were or even no idea what rap was?
Yeah. Well, at first, this fellow with the beard is like, I don't know about this stuff. Is there going to be some rough fellas coming down? And we got through 9 shows, whole tour, not one fight.
That's good. Is that impressive?
You know, that is impressive. I'll get to
That's
it.
pretty standard in comedy, unless you're Alex Williamson.
Yeah,
for an Oz hip hop show, that is like a record. You know, I don't think I've been to a show that hasn't had a fight.
Is that why venues don't want to host Oz hip hop?
That's the other side is graffiti in the toilets. Yeah, but they're the two ones.
Someone, because I have an association in this world, someone graphed up the fucking toilet, the rubber chicken.
Oh, really?
With my name.
Did they really?
Yeah. So, like, the owner comes and goes, hey, man, did you graph the toilet? I'm like, no, I don't graph at all. And he goes, well, someone's written your name there. I'm like, well, that handwriting is very nice. That's not me.
Yeah, your handwriting shit.
It really is terrible.
It's crazy how how much you failed school.
Yeah.
Like one time I saw him like do an envelope and I was shocked.
Yeah.
The man can do comedy, but boy oh boy, his notebook's scrappy.
Can't write.
I was glad I was in prison when you were sending me letters because it gave me plenty of time to figure it out. You know,
Sorry about that.
It was like code breaking, figuring out a letter from Lewis Spears.
Yeah, I'm getting.
I read a couple of your. I read like he was like showed me a section of one of your letters of some funny story you told. He's like, read this bit, man. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And your handwriting, phenomenal.
Oh, really?
That's coming out of a prison.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Going back in is just someone who clearly never learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just didn't work it out. Never
Your
did.
handwriting is impressive from memory.
It's because I've done graffiti for a long time as well. So
You have a
I've
nice cursive script to it.
Yeah, I kind of
My
try
writing's not great. I don't know why I'm trashing you so much.
You know what? Maybe I'm actually left-handed. I just never tried it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you just
maybe.
never
My
explored
handwriting
it.
is so bad.
That's a possibility, I think.
It could be.
True, because you never explored sports too much as well.
No. Could be left-handed. Who knows?
Maybe.
But,
now you just suck at both.
I know. On the letters, one of my favorite stories. I don't think we told it on a podcast, but you were saying that a lot of the murderers in there, because you were in maximum.
Oh, for a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of the murderers have girlfriends outside prison.
Oh,
And
I landed on prison wife TikTok the other day.
oh, right.
There's like a community of girls who have partners in
Yeah,
lockup,
definitely is.
and they're all connecting with each other and going like, we wait for our heroes and stuff like that. And I'm like,
you're not as
most
wife
of
of
your
a soldier.
yeah, most of your
I don't know about
princes,
our heroes.
yeah, most of your princes are doing hard time for murder or something like that, or like, full on like fucked crimes.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely like there's a culture in the world of women that want to date men in prison. Like if you look at like, Bronson, Charles Manson, you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. And so that's definitely.
Were there any?
I think I was saying maybe in the letter about just people's girlfriends in general. And once I was, some fella's like, "Come in my cell, bro. I'll show you my girlfriend." And I go in there, and he's got these photos of this chick. And he's like, "That's my girlfriend, bro." And I was like, "Oh, sick, bro," And then like about a day later, someone else was like, "Come in my cell, I'll show you pictures of my girlfriend, bro." And I was like, "Oh yeah," and I get in there, same girl. And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying nothing."
Yeah. She's just sitting down, batch sending in letters, writing 2 letters at the same time. I better not fuck the address up.
Just spamming the whole jail.
Yeah.
with naked
You
selfies.
probably have one sitting under your bunk.
That's crazy that, like, surely the prisoners talk. Because one day, that prisoner is going to go to the other prisoner. Come see my girlfriend, bro.
Oh, yeah, it's, there was like 7 girlfriends between the whole jail. No, but like, yeah. Either way, back to the tour, what we're talking about. So, yeah, the Franklin was pretty interesting. We did the show, and the guy, even though, he's like, "I'm not sure what this is," at the end of it, he's like, "That was awesome." Like, he really enjoyed the show. And these are, people that were like, "Rock and roll's the biggest music in world." You know what I mean? Like,
I came to one of your shows once. This was years ago. I don't know if you remember. Lewis got up on stage.
Oh,
it was in
Grumpy's.
Fitzroy.
Yeah, Grumpy's.
Grumpy's.
right.
Yeah,
I
I did a
completely
stand-up
fucked it.
gig there one day. It was brutal.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
no,
was-
you just ran out of breath. It was pretty good.
I'd never had to worry about breathing as a stand-up comedian. If you yell and then you need to breathe, you stop and then you breathe.
I ran out of breath doing Ruben's intro.
Yeah, exactly.
I
But
can't even announce him onto stage without going, oh, my voice cracking.
Yeah, exactly. But you have time to breathe.
Yeah.
When you're doing music, the beat doesn't stop for you.
Yeah.
So I was going,
Bit
and then I
disrespectful.
ran out of breath, and then I'm like, "That's all right, I got time to breathe." Didn't have time, I lost it. And then Greeley just starts freestyling. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
I didn't even realize you fucked up because I thought it was like when you were supposed to come in.
Yeah, right. That was for the THC show in Melbourne.
Yes.
Yeah, because you came off and you were like, "Oh man, I fucked that," and I was like, "That was pretty good." Like, I didn't think I thought it would be way worse. I just didn't even really know you. I knew you could rap, but in the studio is different
Yes.
because it's like you can do different
way
takes.
easier.
Yeah, you definitely have to learn breath control
Yeah.
as a part of performing as a rapper. There's a big part about is learning where to drop syllables or like connecting words to sneak a breath in there, and it's there's a craft to it, that's for sure. But yeah, what were we talking about?
Oh, that's it.
This regional
Oh,
talent
the
show.
regional tour, yeah. So the show went all good. The next day, Danny and I were going to go try and fossick for stones in a place called Loon River, which is like you find like crazy gems and stuff down there. And our little tour van that we had couldn't handle the corrugated dirt road. It was one of those and the thing was about to fall to pieces. So we turned around and we're like, "Oh well, we'll have to find a gem somewhere else." We get to this town called Jeeveston, and there was a town hall souvenir shop,
Yeah.
right? And we go in and we're looking around, and there's these two old ducks in pink dresses standing at the counter, and so we went and bought like a plush Tassie Devil toy for my mate Rates, for his kid, and we've gone over and they've started talking to us, and they film a show called Rosehaven there. Have you heard of Rosehaven?
Luke McGregor and Celia Piccola's show.
Yeah, so this is the little town that they filmed that in. And so, and my partner Denny had just been asked to audition for Rosehaven, and they had this big, it looked like a grade 5 school project of like Rosehaven on the wall of the town hall. Like, this is where it was filmed, and this is where Luke McGregor was standing, and this is, they're real proud of it.
Yeah.
And so they're going, oh, look, it's Rosehaven.
Don't laugh.
I know.
No one comes there.
Yeah.
This is where Luke McGregor was standing is surely not a sign.
Mate, there's not much that goes on in this town.
He was on the project once.
Yeah. Let him have their kind of famous ranger.
Exactly.
I don't think he's even from there, is he?
Yeah, he's from Glenorchy. He's from the same suburb as Wombat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's okay. They're proud of their local.
That's a crazy amount of talent coming out of Glenorchy.
Yeah, Luke McGregor and Wombat.
Yeah.
Different ends of the spectrum, hey? Like it's,
yeah, that's like our old tour manager, Zach. He was the second most famous person from Longreach, because that's where Carl Barron's from. And he was the most second famous person. That's pretty cool.
That's great. So we get to Jeeveston and, so we're standing in there. There's this Rosehaven presentation, all cut up card and stuff like that. They've cut out the letters. It literally looks like a grade 5 school project. And Denny mentioned that she got asked to audition for it.
Yeah.
And this is where it turned. One of the old ladies was like, you got asked to audition? Are you an actor? And Denny's like, yeah, I've done a bit of acting. And she goes, well, I've always wanted to be an actor, but, I was 60 years too old. And then she just started auditioning for us and auditioning for Denny. And she started kind of like weirdly performing to her. And Denny's just standing there like, okay. And she grabbed a little like wombat puppet off the little souvenir stand, and she started talking to it. She's like, hello, you're cute, aren't you? Yeah, I'll rip your guts out. And pulled the like stuffing out from underneath it. And she's like, oh. Denny's still standing there going, what the fuck?
She's like, this is going to be my big break. Someone who auditioned for Rosehaven is here. Oh my God.
It's
Exactly.
It's as close as she's going to get to an opportunity.
Yeah.
And she's running with it.
And then they've come back over, and we said, oh, well, we just did a show in Franklin. And she goes, the Franklin pub. And remember the old guy sitting out the front?
Yeah.
She goes, the old guy, he's German and he's a Nazi. And we're like, oh, okay. And she's like, and I'm Jewish, so you know how I feel. And I was like, okay, yep. And we're like, well, we performed in the bar next door. It wasn't for the Nazi,
Yeah.
She's like, oh. She goes, do you know much about Franklin? I'm like, no, not really. And she goes, well, it was named after this woman called Lady Franklin, who used to be a well-to-do woman back in the 1800s. I think she was married to a politician back then.
Yeah.
And Lady Franklin was a bit of a celebrity. And everyone, oh, Lady Franklin. And there's, Franklin River, Franklin Town. There's boats called the Lady Franklin. She's, heaps of shit's named after her. And apparently, this is what the old woman said. She goes, so Lady Franklin had 3 maids. One was called Hope, Miss Hope. One was called Faith, Miss Faith. And the other one was called Snatchel, Miss Snatchel.
What an ugly name.
I know.
Hope, Faith, and Snatchel.
And so when they named Franklin, they named, because it's near a river, there's 3 small islands, and they named the islands after her maids.
Yeah.
So there was Faith Island.
Yeah.
There was Hope Island, and then Snatch Island. And then we're like, oh, okay. And then at this point, she goes, you know what snatch means? Like that.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Danny going, the fuck? And she goes, feminists are actually liberating snatchers. They're liberating the word cunt. And we're like, oh, okay. We're just trying to be nice, We're like, oh, yeah. And she's... yeah, a woman should be able to say, I've got an itchy cunt.
I agree.
I agree too.
I feel they can say it, by the way.
She said it,
Yeah,
and
she's like, they should be able to say, no one's stopping them.
No.
This is Celia Piccoli you're talking to. Yeah.
at reception. They're on set. This is the show.
Yeah. And the first one was, I should be able to say I've got an itchy cunt. And, my partner and I are looking at each other like, what the fuck? And then she goes, I should be able to say that I've got a sore cunt from getting fucked hard all night. I'm not kidding or exaggerating.
And this is after she's completely pulled out the guts of a plush wombat.
It's her first impression.
Yeah, and then, so Denny at this point...
She sounds pretty mentally stable.
So Denny at this point...
Sounds like she got an itchy cunt.
Yeah. So she decided to change the subject.
Yeah.
And she's gone, so we did a hip-hop show. And she goes, hip-hop, well, show me what you've got. And so at that point, I just started beatboxing. And I started going... And so did she. But she wasn't just beatboxing. She was like... and started just doing the most weirdest shit we've ever seen in our lives. Denny's trying to film it on her phone, just dropped to her knees. Like, I posted this on my Instagram. If you go on my Instagram or my Facebook page and look back a bit, you'll find this random video of me beatboxing with an old lady in a pink dress in a town hall. And the look on my face is like, what the fuck is happening here?
So that was a big break, man.
Yeah, well, it was, man. That video got like 500 likes.
She's famous.
Yeah. But, and so... that little moment happened, and then we're like, pay for the thing, let's go. And we walked out, and we got about 2 meters outside the town hall, and we just broke slowly as we walked. I'm like, did you get that? She's like, I got it. I'm like, we found a gem.
Yeah.
We found a gem.
You got
we
your
got
gem.
the gem, And so that was the first show of the tour. And so,
I can't believe you continued doing the shows after that.
Oh, it was awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'd rather that than go do a show to 500 people in a big venue and just stay in the hotel. For me, it's about the journey.
You're right.
The lurk, the gems that you find on the lurk. All
That's
that
why I
sort of
always
stuff.
try and do stuff at all the places. Like, I'm going to Adelaide a couple of days early just to hang out.
Yeah.
Because
It's part of touring.
then on the day you go man, I was at Thingo yesterday, and we went out to this nightclub in regional Geelong. I did 3 minutes at the start of my show on the nightclub the next night, and they fucking lost their mind.
Yeah.
Because they're like, something about us.
Yeah, which is the best tactic to use is I use that in doing rap battles as well. I
do your research.
I did one in Darwin. I just went to the tourist booth, looked up 5 things. There was this crocodile called Crocosaurus. So as soon as I started the rap battle that night, I'm like, your mum looks like Crocosaurus, and the whole place just lost it. I was like, she's got bigger teeth than me. What a walrus. Yeah. So, and that shit works very well.
That's great.
Same deal with stand-up. It's like every comedian's got their joke that they replace the shit suburb of the town. I've seen Carl Barron do it with Cessnock. It's the same sort of deal.
Yeah, Adelaide's Elizabeth. Sydney's Blacktown. Melbourne's Frankston. I used to do it.
Yeah.
I still do. Oh, I need to find out what the yuppie suburb of Adelaide is for this weekend.
Adelaide.
Kind of like the Toorak / Brunswick.
Yeah.
Brunswick's not that yuppie, but it's a bit lefty.
Up in the hills.
Yeah.
Up in the hills.
I need to figure it out. This episode is sponsored by Nobby Underwear.
We love that. Nobby Underwear. Look, I'm wearing them. And they're really comfortable.
Yeah. And if you want to look like you're sponsored by Nobby Underwear, head to nobby.com.au.
Yes.
They will not pay you. You will have to pay them. But if you don't want to pay as much, use our code SOUNDOFF and you will receive $5 off your first pair of Nobbies when you join the Undie Club.
That's $5 closer to feeling like you're sponsored.
Yeah, you're actually like a TikTok influencer.
Yeah.
You get a discount on a product and then you wear it and show everyone.
Nobby.com.au, best underwear in the game. It's the only underwear I wear now throughout everything else that I have. This is all I wear. It's really good stuff. And ladies, they have ladies as well. Get a box for your box.
Yep.
You know?
And if you're a male,
Yep.
you can get a package for your package.
Yep. Absolutely. They have little bra toplets.
Or it doesn't matter what you have down there. If you have a package,
that's progressive.
Get a package for it.
Absolutely.
In the mail.
It's
still underwear.
Yeah, you're not going to get a dick and balls in an envelope.
You also wouldn't wear a box either around your hips. I'm not also suggesting
depends
that.
how lonely you are, But hopefully no one's that lonely and they just need underwear. Nobby.com.au. Use code SOUNDOFF for $5 off.
I'm just going to say this on record. We strongly recommend you wear the underwear, not the packaging.
Yeah.
That's the Luke and Lewis recommendation.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you what to do once you receive the package.
I mean, you could wear the underwear and then you could fashion the packaging into a hat.
You know what I genuinely love about Nobby?
What do you genuinely love about Nobby?
All
Is it their good quality underwear?
But it just in regards to the packaging, I know we're not told to say this, but it's all recyclable.
Yeah.
That's a word I can say.
You know a great way to recycle your packaging? Wear it as a hat.
Great. Send us your Nobby hats. Use code SOUNDOFF for $5 off your first order. Thank you to Nobby for sponsoring the podcast. We are also sponsored by Manscaped.
Very groin-related sponsor segment on the show.
Yep.
Manscaped.com, the best pubic hair shaver in the game. Use code SOUNDOFF20 for 20% off and free shipping your Manscaped, your Lawnmower 3.0. Luke, you know what? Do not read. Host to talk about a funny grooming story or how they personally like the product.
Yeah. That was almost funny, I reckon, a year and a half ago when you did that.
Yeah.
And now it's still funny. Well done, mate.
Well,
it's a good one.
With that in mind, you will really love the Crop Reviver, the ball toner, a spray-on testy toner that's designed to make your balls smell irresistible.
I'm not going to lie, they sent it to us.
Yeah.
I used it, the ball toner.
Yeah.
Whoa, my nuts smelt divine.
I thought so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's become look, I don't want to get
irresistible?
I don't want to get too personal in regards to my relationship, but
Really?
It's a bit of fun sometimes me me spritzing it on and
So you spritz the nuts?
and then trying to see how irresistible it is.
So you spritz and you don't tell. You just see what happens.
And I just see.
Spritz and wait.
And I let Manscaped do its work. And I tell you what.
Yeah.
Thank you, Manscaped.
Jeez, you better watch
Support them because they support me and my groin.
You better make sure that you know who's going to be coming over. Because if you spritz, and then someone comes over that you're not interested in getting
Grandma,
into that area,
get away.
Yeah, she goes, it's irresistible. But get out of it. I can't help myself. I've used the discount code SOUNDOFF20 for free shipping. And 20% off, and now your balls are irresistible.
And they're just like, I see you've used the Lawnmower 3.0 to shave them.
Yeah.
Very good, dear.
Normally I need my glasses to see, but,
Well,
this time I can use my nose.
Yep, so if you want to impress your grandma, whoever you're trying to impress, use our code SOUNDOFF and you get free shipping.
SOUNDOFF20 at manscaped.com.
20.
Thank you. And thanks to both of our sponsors.
By the way, that's the number 20.
Yeah,
20. It should be clear. Don't write the word 20.
Don't know why we had to clarify what the number 20 looks like. If you couldn't work out what 20 looks like in numbers, you're fucked. Manscaped.com, nobby.com.au. Nobby, sound off. Manscaped, sound off 20. Support the brands that support the show, and we can continue doing this.
I actually have a bit in my show this year about rap battles.
Yeah, right.
Just about how, I don't want to give it away because not everyone's seen the show, but about how it's just so adorable. I watched two dudes in a parking lot. They've spent so much time preparing poems about each other, and then they continue to make homophobic slurs during it.
Yeah,
I'm not gay, and I'm like, dude, it's objectively the gayest thing you could have done.
Yeah,
you spend all morning writing poems about this guy, and then sharing it with him in front of people, cheering and stuff like that.
Poetry lovers.
And it's like I put on this freestyle battle on the weekend. Down in Tasmania.
Freestyle is not written.
Yeah, so there's two different types of rap battles because they evolved around 2007. Because freestyle was done from pre-8 Mile to around 2007, and it got a bit boring.
Was that really all freestyle? Obviously, the movie wasn't, but really, they did all those styles. Did people were that good at freestyling?
Yeah, and they still are. But there's different.
I've seen I've seen Greeley freestyle.
I've seen
Cursor,
Manners.
not rap
I've
battles.
seen 360
Manners is the Arrows. Manners is one of the best freestylers.
It's honestly one out of I've seen a lot of people's different skills with my job. Freestyling is one of the most impressive things that I've
so much more impressive than being a good improv comic.
Yeah, because
like
freestyle is you have to make it up. It has to be on in time, and then it has to rhyme. It like there's really strict rules with rhyming. Obviously,
there's a lot of parameters you got to do it between.
Well, like my technique for the freestyle battles used to be like as soon as I know who I'm battling, whether it's a tournament style, because sometimes they just pull the name out in the spot. But once you get through the tournament, you're like, oh, well, if I beat him, then I'm battling that guy.
So you can
so
do
you
a
got
little bit of
10
prep.
minutes, you know, and in that 10 minutes, I'll be like, oh, he's got a rip in his pants, he's got a stain near his crotch, his shoes are a shit color. I'd pick like 4 or 5 things,
And then
I just stop
rhyming
in my head.
words. Do you start going through the rhymes for crutch, dick, I guess you already have
to be
them.
honest, that's the easiest part because that's the setup. So, you know, like in the same way a joke works, you set up and then you hit with the punch. So the first rhyme doesn't really need to matter too much. You know what I mean? Like, say if I was to say fucking...
Yeah, would you be able to do it now? Would you be able to roast us off the cuff?
Yeah.
Like
I'd
in
say-
rhyme?
Yeah, straight up. I'd be like, my tight rhyme's clever. Fucking Luke Kidgel looks like every single fucking white guy ever. You know, like, so I thought white guy ever, and then I rhyme tight clever, which is...
yeah.
That's a shit rhyme. I
Yes.
rhyme tight, clever. But like that was a big trend in battle rap as well, where it was like who could say the most cringy setup. Like everyone would love it. Like I'm rhyming it dark, and then come in with the punch. You know, and it became like a niche thing in battle rap. Say the worst setup ever. The worse, the better, because it's hilarious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, so that, my technique would be pick 5 things. And then when you know, say they're doing their round, they say 3 or 4 things. Think of a way to flip it back on them. Once again, random setup, hit with the punch. You know, like that's the sort of technique that I go through, and I think most people do.
Because I think maybe the first time I probably ever saw you, I didn't even know it was you at the time actually, because I didn't know him yet.
Yeah.
But I obviously watched 360 versus Cursor, like everyone under the age of 25 did in Australia.
Yeah.
And it was just like that one. That's not improv, right? That was pre-written.
That was organized in that.
Dude, when 360 says he looks like a tennis instructor, I think that's one of the most true hurtful things I've ever heard in my life. Because they were like calling each other like slurs, which is fine, but just objectively saying you look like a tennis instructor, and then the camera switches to Cursor, and the look on Cursor's face is like, "Fuck, that tracks." I am full on, and he came wearing a polo as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because the worst ones are like when they're not insults. Like calling someone a tennis instructor is not mean, but when they look like a tennis instructor and they're not, that hurts.
Everyone in the crowd, even if they're on Cursor's side, they were like, "Jesus, really hit the nail on the head there." that is good shit. And you're in the background like. Pfft.
I think, man, I saw a tennis instructor meme 3 days ago. It's still going. You know what I mean? Like, I uploaded that video to YouTube in January 2011.
Yeah,
and
wow.
it's still
Even
you know,
you copped some burns in it.
Yeah, I copped a few.
Yeah.
A few drive-bys just at Greeley. Like they're punching on each other and they're just like, fuck you.
yeah.
You bothered to organise the whole thing and they're like, you piece of shit.
Yeah. I've copped a lot of drive-bys in my time at the hip-hop scene, you know. And that's the thing
But
with battle
that's
culture.
a sign of respect, though. In a way, it's like they wouldn't do it to you if they didn't respect you.
Yeah, for sure.
You are the king of Tassie.
Thank you.
You're like the guy there.
Yeah, well, for me, like when I was young, especially, you know, after I got back from America and I had a bit of experience with hip-hop at school over there and stuff like that, and I just held on to hip-hop so much. And back then, you know, Tassie was a bit of a joke in the hip-hop scene in Australia. Everyone was like, oh, there's no rappers from Tassie. It's a fucking, you know, like... It's inbred, it's blah, 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 blah. It's a shithole,
Now I know,
you know,
like, because of the THC thing, which is Tassie Hip Hop Collective, you're, like, fostering talent from
seems
Tasmania.
like-
I know fucking heaps of good
Yeah, I don't know
rappers from
anything
there now.
about it. Maybe it's because I follow you and stuff and don't follow too many other people. But it seems to me like there's a huge culture now. It's actually one of the strongest places to be a part of.
That means a lot to hear, you know, because, we came from a point where there were a couple rappers from Tassie.
Because Sydney was like the big part. Yeah.
And it
with,
comes
like,
down to
Forte
numbers,
and
man. You know, like...
Cursor.
And Melbourne was the spot, you know.
Where's 360 from?
He's from Melbourne.
He's not doing it anymore.
Melbourne.
Oh, he's actually releasing music again.
okay.
Yeah, he's putting music out.
I don't really know many Auss rappers, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think he's from St Kilda. But, you know, Melbourne, Adelaide was kind of like the New York of Australia when it came to, you know, the first big wave of Australian hip-hop all came from Adelaide. Like in the same
The
way.
Hilltop Hoods.
Yeah,
and
Hilltop Hoods.
Listenesso.
No, they were from Sydney.
Oh, okay.
But Hilltop Hoods, Funk Whores, Terra Firma, they were part of a big crew called Certified Wise.
It was all groups at first.
It was.
Solo rappers didn't really become really, really popular until like it was like Cursor 360 and then yourself and people like Forte as well from Sydney, and then the whole Psych Ward crew as well.
Yeah,
that's when I started hearing about it.
Yeah.
So there would have been people before that.
It was definitely, you're right in the sense it was groups. 360, even though him and Pez were a group, but
True,
you know, they kind of helped each other. But 360 was probably the first individual rapper to really get big in Australia. He was on Rolling Stone.
He was
all
like
that sort of
mainstream.
stuff.
Yeah.
He hit that
Whereas
sort of level.
Cursor was like biggest.
He was
in
the anti-60.
Yeah, he was.
But because like this is where
It
Cursor's
felt like
so
you had
smart.
to choose
Yeah, well, that's
between
You
the
did.
two.
You did. You could not
in
like
the culture.
Yeah, and it's still kind of the same.
Yeah.
Like that's things happen for such a long time now. But it's interesting with Cursor because Cursor represented the underground, he represented the street, but Cursor was so smart that he used the same business that mainstream uses, and Cursor made his street sound mainstream, even though he was still underground. He was just he's mainstream now. You know what I mean? Like it's
listen to the hooks. Like they're just pop hooks anyway on the new albums and stuff. I like it. I actually, one of the people, I don't know what his fans think. I don't really follow it, but I actually like his new shit way more.
Yeah.
So
I
do
think he's getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always gotten better, and I think
But I don't know
he's
if
gotten
people
better at
disagree with
making
that, but-
music too. Like, and just having that ear for good sounding music, and that's like what he's always
really
done.
like
And this
that.
is where I find with a lot of other rappers that have blown up in the last couple of years, they're chameleons, and what they've done is jumped on the trends, like
Hooligan hefts.
drill's a big trend, and like the EDM, all this sort of stuff. They've used these sort of trends and joined in with them. Not many have really pioneered the trend, where Cursor pioneered his trend. And
I think he's always sounded like him. Like
Exactly.
Even looking at like American rappers or even English UK rappers, there's a lot of, especially with the UK, there's a lot of Australians that sound just like the UK
Exactly.
guys with a
And-
different accent. But Cursor to me has always sounded like him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Cursor is the sickest and Don't Fuck with Cursor and the first like big ones that went viral. Like you didn't really hear music like it.
No.
Wasn't there some clip of him in a parking lot doing "Don't
Cursor is the
fuck
sickest.
with
No, that was
Cursor"?
Cursor is the sickest. That
Oh
was
yeah,
it. That was
Cursor is the
it.
sickest a cappella.
Yeah.
And it just sounded insane.
It was raw.
It was like without a beat, it just sounded like a madman.
Honestly,
Yelling in a car
as a
park.
teenager that I was just starting to get into that video made me go, this is fucking cool.
So that was
So
like,
that
thought it
video
was
my friend
sick.
sent to me probably as a joke because
Yeah.
he used to cop so much shit. Like, and Oz hip hop in general has like a bit of a stigma for like, what do you think about that? Like how people just shit on
I think it's
Oz
changed
rap?
now. I think it's
I
changed.
think it has changed, and that comes with cultural cringe. And I don't know if you've really looked into cultural cringe much, but Australia suffers it way worse than any other Western country in the world.
Yeah.
And it comes to, I think, pioneering of media and connection, and because of our isolation compared to America and England, when both of them were pioneering with film culture, music culture, you know, they were pretty connected. Like the big bands from America would go to England and vice versa. And Australia was always like the shit little cousin, like, can we be a part of it too? You know?
Yeah.
And it happened in TV in Australia massively. Like Rodney Rude's a good example. Rodney Rude got back from Canada, went on Hey Hey It's Saturday. Wasn't his cup of tea. Wasn't really Aussie enough. They didn't want to go full Rodney Rude. But then Rodney Rude went out and built his whole epic legacy.
I have dads
You know.
after every show going, "You like Rodney Rude, mate?" And I'm like, "I don't know who that is. He's just signed every pub green room I've ever done a show in."
Yeah, yeah.
Just don't know.
Straight up.
I've never seen his act.
Oh, really? You should
No.
watch him, man.
He's great.
He's definitely a brilliant craftsman at what he does.
Yeah, right.
And he did stand up in Canada for 10 years before he came back to Australia and started
And then just
82.
blew everyone away because he was way different.
He was the cursor of comedy.
yeah.
You know, he did his own thing. And this is like, once again, half of Australia is fucking Aussie and wants to be Aussie.
Yeah.
And then the other half just cringes at that half going, no, but we want to fit in with England and America.
Yes.
Why can't you guys be more like chill and stop fucking being Aussie.
Yeah.
You know, like it's this weird thing. And this is where you're like,
It's cultural cringe and tall poppy
Tall
syndrome
poppy
as
syndrome
well.
is a
Like,
big thing.
when I started YouTube, I started uploading in 2012. Maybe about a year before that, when Alex Williamson kind of started all of this. He was the first like Australian comedian to make content on YouTube that wasn't like the American stuff.
yeah.
And I remember that until him, it was, if you even thought about making YouTube videos, you were fucking weird.
You were the
And it was-
weird kid at your school that was
Yeah.
like, he has a YouTube account. And everyone's like, why would you
Yeah.
need an account? You can just Google cat videos. Why
I
would you?
know. or even watching Australian anything was cringe because no one had really done it before. And I feel like Oz hip hop went through that same thing. I first heard about Cursor as a joke. Someone was playing it as a joke, like playing Don't Fuck with Cursor at like school assembly and shit
Yeah.
as a joke. And then I would join in, and then I properly listened to it and I was like, oh, hang on, this is fucking awesome. And then I just got obsessed with it. And then that's how I like fell in with you,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, I met you at Curse's first album launch in Melbourne.
Yes. Yeah. I've been going to his shows ever since he started doing that.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, I went by myself because all my friends were too scared to go.
Yeah, well, Schemo was with his shirt off on stage, so
Snapping records and
yeah, they
cracking
probably
it.
made a good decision.
Yeah, yes. There were a few fights.
But Curse has been the best at riding that cringe. You know what I mean? Like, and this is the thing where half of everyone cringed at him. He used them to his advantage, and he just worked hard, was smart about his business, got better at making music, making better sounding music, commercially sounding music, but still being true to himself
Yeah.
Yeah.
and telling his story. And
I think at this point, if you don't like him, you just don't really like rap. But like, because he's good. Like, I don't
Yeah, he's
particularly
great.
get around Oz
and-
rap too
and
much.
He just dropped a new song, and in the chorus he goes, Medicaid on a pinger.
Australian. in
and-
the hook.
Yeah, in the hook. And like, you know, all these other trends, everyone's rapping about this, rapping about that, yeah, drugs, this and that. No one's still rapping about pingers. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Pingers were cool 10 years ago. Curse is bringing
So
it
was
back.
Cursor. That's funny. All your
He's
people.
he's gonna hit me up about Luke.
That's
you know,
fine.
and he's gonna go, who's this cunt?
It's all right.
That's right. I'm still trying to fuck with him.
Yeah.
On my podcast, I don't know if he ever got wind of it. I swore on my podcast that one day, mark my words, I will fuck with Cursor. And not many people have the guts to say that. And I just want to put his window wipers up or some shit and then run away. But you know, I'm scared of the man. He's got a fucking face tattoo. I wouldn't fuck with you either.
Yeah, not fuck with in a violent way, just in a, that's annoying.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
He gets
no.
in the car and goes, oh, fuck, has to get out, put
Yeah,
it
yeah.
down, drive away.
Oh no, I actually really I respect him. I have heaps of respect for him. I've
Yeah,
always
of
said
course.
that. He's good. No, he's actually the only Oz rapper I've ever listened to because of him.
Like, yeah, with
And
his,
you.
Took me a
with his
while.
new song, like it was
Oh, and a
good
bit
to
of
see
Wombat.
that. You know, there's so much content coming out of Australian hip hop, drill, rap, whatever you want to call the trends in different ways. And Curse is just, he's made himself his brand. Where
Yes.
I see other people using trends and brands and attaching it to themselves to escalate, Curse has made himself the brand to the point where Nautica sponsored him.
Yes.
You know, he didn't ask for that. Like,
yeah.
he just repped Nautica until they went, oh shit. You know,
And that's the most lad shit ever.
Yeah.
Is getting Nautica to pay you. Imagine walking into Maya, 15 years ago to steal Nautica and then thinking, man, one day they'll pay me to wear it. I won't even have to rack it. That's
Yeah.
every lad's dream.
That's like if I got a JJ sponsorship. I'd be living the goddamn dream.
Yeah.
Dude, I was walking past my local JJ's this morning. I went to the shopping centre this morning. You know Ben Guerin's the YouTuber from Sydney? I don't know if you know him. But he's up in the JJ's
name.
window, and I was like, I want to get. I've got more Instagram followers than Ben, but he's a lot more attractive than me.
That is the key. That is the key.
Yeah, I do need to work on this.
They don't want they don't want a model that looks exactly like their clientele.
No, and also, yeah, you can't. It's the clientele, and also you can't have one. You got to distinguish between me and the mannequin, as well, which
Come
is
on,
a huge
dude.
problem.
JJ's are selling a lifestyle, okay?
Yeah.
And you don't fit it.
Yeah,
They're selling that premium luxury lifestyle.
yeah. But if JJ's like opened up maybe a pub, like
Yeah.
a teenage pub,
You could be you know what would happen? They'd paint you, put you on the wall, and be like, who's that guy? And you go, oh, that's Luke. He lives here.
and then I'd walk past. Yeah, right. So, man, I'm glad you've been doing well since we last spoke. I mean, you've been obviously having a lot more correspondence with Lewis. You've had like let's be honest, a rough run.
Yeah,
It started off with
man.
jail, but even since then, COVID. You broke your ankle.
Yeah, real bad. Yeah, so I got stuck in COVID up in Brisbane, and I was there for a few months. Ended up releasing the album, everything like that. And I went...
Risdon Wisdom?
Yeah, Risdon Wisdom, which is, the album prison that I wrote in Risdon Prison. And it's pretty much like, I copped heaps of shit of people being like, oh, what, you're a jail rapper now and you rap about this.
If you can't go to jail and then write an album about it, what's the point? What do you want? That's the most, like...
You're making it like you chose to go there. You're like, what's the point of even going there? Like it's some resort.
Do you want your rap to be real or not? You're going to complain when people are lying about crime and complain when they write a thing about doing it? What do you fucking...
If you had have rapped about being at home for 6 months, they would have been like, you're in jail, mate. What the fuck? You're home rapper now?
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. But so I put that out and I was stoked on the response. I managed to hit the #1 spot on iTunes for like 3 days, and even got to the top 10 albums bit where they'll put it up next to Queen greatest hits and things like that. So that was a nice screenshot to post on my socials.
That's
you know
good.
what I mean? And so and then I went down to Newcastle with my partner Denny to meet her family. And been there for 3 days, and I linked up with a fella called Tons, who's like the OG of Newcastle. He's been rapping and doing graffiti since the 90s, and now he works in like a lot of social work, like with kids that have got in trouble. He takes them painting murals and tries to give them a bit of direction and positive support. He does like rap workshops with like full disability communities, and it's sick. Like, he's got one song and he's got a guy with a disability that can't talk rapping with his computer on a song. And it's like, my name is Jaco. I like Harry Potter, but I'm no Draco. Like, it's classic, man. I really enjoy it.
Everyone in the comments like, this guy's fucking using auto-tune. This is bullshit.
This guy sounds like he's biting Stephen Hawking.
Fully. But it's very wholesome.
Get your own sound, bro.
Come on, guys. Punching a bit too far down.
But so I linked up with him, and he's like, I'll show you this graffiti spot. He picked me up at 9 a.m. We went to this big storm drain, and it's called the Arena in Newcastle, and it's like the kind of Hall of Fame of graffiti, you know? And I've got there and I'm like, this is sick. Oh, let's take a selfie, mate. And he's like, yeah, sweet. I'm trying to find a good selfie. Can't get the good background. I'm like, oh, let's go down into the drain. And it's only like grass, metre and a half slope.
You did it doing it for the gram.
I did it for the gram.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is
the worst way to hurt yourself.
But the thing is, I run over, slipped, went down, caught this ankle, snap, rolled over on my side and felt it dangle like a UFC kick. You know what I mean? It was
and like in Harry Potter when his arm just flops in the Quidditch game.
So I took my selfie on the ground and posted it up like waiting for an ambulance. And I used the endorphins of social media and replying to people distract me from the fact my ankle was snapped.
So really, you got a good Instagram out of it anyway.
I did,
You achieved your goal.
So that's a good little strat. Like if you're really, really hurt yourself, just go live. You'll be fine.
Yeah, straight up. Well, I kind of used that hype while I was in hospital to just hustle the merch because I was out of action for like 2 months and I just met my partner's family and been there for 3 days and snapped my ankle. So I didn't want to just sit on the couch for the next 3 months like, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So I used the sympathy of being stuck in hospital to hustle merch to my fan base to get by.
This is how you be homeless for 18 months with money.
Yeah.
This is how you do it.
And shout outs to all my fans that supported me through that time because it was a pretty hard time. And I'm very grateful for the people that support me. You know, it was
financially and the validation.
Yeah, exactly.
Well. Better than the green whistle for sure.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I've never done it. I've never hurt myself enough to warrant the green whistle.
It was good.
People say it's the best thing ever.
There's a photo of me getting put into the ambulance on a stretcher because they had to get 12 firemen to come down and carry me out. They had to carry me out.
Oh, this bloke was trying to take an Instagram selfie in the storm drain.
I didn't tell them about the Insta bit. I just told them I was looking at graffiti.
That's tougher.
Yeah, that was on my medical report.
Yeah,
you
that
know.
is much. That is much.
But
tougher.
there's a photo of me in the stretcher getting put into the ambulance like this, with the green whistle in my hand.
That is awesome.
It's litty. But yeah, and then I spent a week in hospital in Newcastle. I was there for a few months, and I recovered. And just when I went to head back to Tassie, I got a bone infection from the metal that they put in my leg. So I was just ready to go home. Finally, after this 9-month adventure of getting stuck on the mainland, corona, album, ankle, everything. I was like, oh, finally going home, bone infection, another 2 surgeries. Yeah, was there for a
can't
couple
catch a
more
break.
weeks. It was pretty rough.
No, he
And
did.
then-
He did. He broke his ankle.
Yeah. You caught a big break.
Yeah, it was a big break. That was my big break. And yeah, finally I left.
That lady in the store could have used that break. Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
that
I
was a
left
pretty weak
Tassie
callback.
mid-February,
Man, I forgive you.
and I got back late October.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it was a mission.
I get now why you wanted to see Tasmania. It sounds like you missed it.
Yeah, I definitely did. But
It
it was,
smells
after
different there.
after being in prison in Tasmania for a year, it wasn't bad getting out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And
So,
just-
like, I know we touched on it earlier. I haven't actually spoken to you about it. You spoke to it with Lewis on his podcast, but I mean, that's so boring. What's it like? You said before that you literally just were in a bunk all day. Aren't you allowed to go out?
that was in the Supermax part.
How long were you in there for?
A month.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, that was an annoying month.
That's the point.
That's for sure. But I was in like the medium sort of place, and you're in units. You got about 8 fellas in a unit. You're allowed out into a big yard that's got a basketball court for like probably a total of 7 hours of the day. And you know, you get out in the morning, go back for lunch to your unit, and then out in the arvo. But really, like, one is Tasmania, so I knew people as soon as I got in there.
Were you like
know.
famous in prison?
Yeah, there was a few people that knew who I was, but then there was also a few people that like, why does everyone know him? He hasn't been to jail before, you know, and I kind of copped that. But I just treated everyone with respect. It was polite. You know, I don't think I'm better than fucking anyone. And I think eventually they figured that out and came round to me, you know.
Yeah.
And one thing I learned there is that not everyone's going to like you, so don't make a big deal about it. Just get on with it, you know. But,
And does it just feel like you're waiting? Like, is like all day? Is it just like when you're playing basketball? Is it just like just waiting, doing your time?
That's it, yeah.
Does it feel really unproductive?
Yeah, well, it is for a lot of people, you know, and like fuck,
I guess it's
like,
hard to be
I've heard
productive.
since I left that, especially when Corona kicked in, it got 10 times worse down there. My caseworker from prison was at one of the regional shows, and she came up and she
cool.
was like, "Oh my god, you did everything you said you're gonna do, and it's shit in there now. It was shit then, but it's worse." And they had to like close down all the programs, and there's just nothing for fellas in there. You know, it's literally just caged. You know what I mean? And that doesn't help anyone rehabilitate themselves. It comes down to the individual if they want to, but yeah, it's a hard one. But yeah, I think I was lucky in the sense it's Tassie, so you know people. A lot of people are related. Excuse me, and as well, it's mostly white people. Like you don't have the big segregation based on race, where there's other prisons in the mainland where they only keep the Lebos over here and the Asians over here and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We had like 3 Asians and they were sick. They were legends.
Can't have a
You
gang
know.
with 3. you
Yeah.
know?
And
Not enough to people to incorporate.
No, that's
You know.
it. And everyone, you know, a few Lebo fellas and they were all legends, and there was a few black fellas as well, and there was no race shit in that sort of way.
Yeah,
you
right.
know, and whereas I know that's a big issue in the mainland, especially, different sort of nashos that are all through
And did you
prisons.
make any friends?
Yeah, I made a lot of good friends.
And like now that are they out now?
Also, one of my good friends I made, his name's Kane, and his name's Kane Richardson. And if you Google him, you can go have a look at his history. But he's carried on. You know, he's been done for like $1 million drug.
His history's a good Google.
Yeah, it's a good Google.
Yeah.
He's been done for like $1 million drug and gun seizures. He's been done for him and 5 other fellas kidnapped a Melbourne fella, held him at ransom for 75 grand, all sorts of shit. Yeah, have a look on Google. Kane Richardson. But I taught him how to rap.
How did you describe him? He's carrying on a bit.
Oh, he carries.
I agree. He's come on, Kane. Stop carrying on, mate.
He used to carry right on with it.
Yeah, and he'd be carrying at the time as well.
Yeah, and he's like he carried on in there, like he chucked a tanty once, and there was 2 screws tasing him in the face, and he was still swinging like he. And
screws is what you guys call the
guards,
prison guards. Yeah,
yeah, and
this is going to open a lot of people's eyes listening to this.
Yeah, but Kane, he got locked up first at the age of 11. He had a really rough upbringing, and he'd never spent more than 6 months to a year out of jail since the age of 11, and he's my age, he's 30, and so he'd spent most of his life in there, and he was at a point
crazy.
where,
I mean, when you cage someone like an animal like that for their whole life, like how are they supposed to reintegrate?
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's crazy that he's doing so well now.
Yeah, well, it's like so he's been wanting to rap for the whole time. It's like we all listen to Tupac as kids. I wanted to be a rapper. He wanted to be a thug. And he lived the thug life to the fullest.
Yep.
And when I got in there, I noticed everyone, like he said to me, I always wanted to be a rapper, and everyone around was like, Kane couldn't be a rapper. You can get your money back. But, he's good for this, but he can't do that. No. And it was that sort of put down culture of, stay in your place, mate. You can't do that. And I said to him, like, you can do whatever you want. And he's very smart, considering he spent so much time inside. He's like, fucking read the dictionary back to front. He's written his own dictionaries of all his favorite words. Like, he's very intelligent, book smart, and he had shoeboxes full of raps that he'd written, but he'd never had any way to use it or do it or anyone to encourage him. So I sat there with him, and because I managed to get beats brought into the prison. It took me a couple months, but I got a beat CD with instrumental beats brought in, and bought a PS2. Got my mate Dunners to get a PS2 from a cash converters. So he brought that in, and I could use the PS2 to play beats through my little prison TV.
Yeah, cool.
And
plus Ratchet and Clank on the weekends.
yeah. Oh, but I played some GTA 3. I went back, like
San Andreas, my man.
And
is that 3? Yeah.
No. That's
really?
pre Vice City. It's GTA 3, Vice City, then San Andreas.
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
And so we spent a bit of time in there, and he got out like a month before I did, and I was saying to him, whatever you do in that month, don't carry on. You know what I mean? Don't carry on. Just stay chill.
Unless
be out.
It's a flight, no fucking carry on.
Yeah. And since I got out, I got him in the studio, recorded his first song. I made a video clip to it, and I've put that up on the THC channel. It's called Kane Ruthless Northerner. And
it's sick.
Yeah,
I'll have to check it out.
It's real, man. This is Tassie gangster rap if there ever was, And
the only gangster in Tassie, it sounds like.
No, there's a few.
Okay.
I think there is rules to listen to Kane's music. You have to Google him first and read a few things, and then you listen to the music, and then you go, cool.
Yeah, for sure. And since we put that first song out, I've linked him up with a producer called Lockie Hamill. He lives down in Hobart, and he's a real nice young fella who's at the con for music. And, so he's doing Unity, he's got a studio, and I've linked them two up, and it's interesting because you got, big staunch Kane and this little 20-year-old fella from the con making beats, and he's pumping it, and he's recorded about 9 songs for his album so far. Yeah. He's been out of prison over a year and a half, which is the longest in his adult life.
That's great.
It's massive positive impact. And
it
also,
seems like you had a really positive impact on his life.
Definitely. But he also he was a very motivated fella, and he gave me some really good advice and helped me motivate myself to do everything I did with my album.
Yeah.
So I felt it was only right to, give that back. And we did an interview with ABC, done a few things. It hasn't been aired yet because they fucked up in their reporting, and they came and interviewed us, but they asked him about crimes that he'd done, and they didn't ask him if he was convicted for them, which is illegal as a journalist. So
you have to show that bad things happen when you do bad things.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it's irresponsible reporting.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There's a lot of weird rules like that. Like we were told when talking about suicide, you can't say they're in a better place, or you can't make it sound like a solution. You have to also say it's bad that happened. You must say that.
Yeah, for
a
sure.
lot of weird little rules that I suppose are good rules.
Yeah, I remember that. There was like a day at the radio. They were like, by the way, this just in case it ever comes up, this is what you do.
Yeah.
And they were really adamant about it because it's like a breach of their broadcasting code or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, that sounds like that's great. So who should people look out for coming up before we end it? Like in this, you got a few guys down there.
You should check out the rap battle, C. Rossi versus Chuckles.
Dude, this C. Rossi guy, I've been watching him all week in your gram. It's like this 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, from Hobart.
Little white boy, puffer jacket. I think that's why I relate to him. Dude, he crushes it.
Yeah, he did really well.
He's funny and he's just, I don't know what it is. He's like, when you watch someone and they're like quite young and you're like, oh, this person's got it.
So when we were doing the regional tour, we did a show in Newbina, which is right next to Port Arthur.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do a show in Port Arthur. Wasn't a venue. Picked the closest pub. And he's from down that area. And one of my big fans said, oh, can we get a young fella on? And that's what I'm all about. So I was like, yep, if he's, comes to the pub with his uncle so he can get in, no worries. And he rocked up in a flanny and got up on stage and just had instant confidence, instant energy.
Awesome.
Just got up, started rapping his ass off. Crowd's going nuts, and he's going, yeah, on stage. And I was just like,
dang.
Crazy.
Look at this
16.
kid.
That's
16,
nuts.
I would not have had the
he's
confidence.
still in
to
grade
do
10
that.
at high school,
That's
and
why I didn't start till I was, I was like
You were
20.
like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Probably.
yeah.
I was 19, I think.
So yeah, it was crazy to see that, and then after that, I thought this is sick, and I went and filmed a little video clip for him and his mate, put it on THC. It did pretty well, got a bit of attention, and and then he's connecting with a bunch of other fellas that I'm helping out from Launceston, and they're like collabing and traveling up and down and working together. So it's so good because I plant these seeds with all these fellas.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
And my biggest thing is that I can't be the guy to always try and help everyone, but I'm just trying to teach people, how to do it.
Give them the tools.
Give them the tools.
Even when I was making music, you just helped me out and you were like, these are the basics. Do this, don't do that. Good luck.
Yeah,
and it fucking helped so much.
Oh, man. And it showed in your, Christopher Rue's release. Yeah, he has some really good stuff on there. And I think back to when I was teaching you how to, count bars at my house.
Yeah, you were
in
teaching me how to
Melbourne.
count bars.
Yeah.
Like this, this is how many bars are in a fucking 4
I usually just do that in Brunswick Street. Like, how many can we hit tonight, lads?
There's one story that I want to tell you that I haven't been able to tell you because it happened when I visited you in Risdon the first time. Did I tell you about the guy that was sitting next to you when we were talking to each other behind the glass? This is when I visited you for the first time. I don't think I've told you.
I think I saw you joke about it on your tour.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah. Yes, yeah, that.
Yeah, so you sent me footage of that.
Yeah.
That's right. You did a whole bit about how
So-
cool it is to have a friend in prison. What were your thoughts on that?
The bit
I was stoked because I'm in prison and I can't do my shit. And I was like,
Someone's talking about
yeah,
me.
Lewis is carrying the torch here for me,
Yeah, because that was
the
the
thing
he was
is, I
supposed to open for
I was
me.
meant to do the tour with Lewis, and that was because I got locked up for 2 months. I got out, and then they're like, not long enough, and sent me back.
Yeah,
And
I remember that.
I was shattered. That was my biggest thing because I was like, fuck, I was meant to do a whole tour with Lewis, and I had so much fun.
I wrote you references. I was
Yeah.
like writing to the judge, if Greeley can't come on my tour, it will financially impact me and I'll have to cancel it. and then he goes back to prison and I'll figure it out, I guess.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah, but I visited you in Risdon prison. It's fucking scary. As a person going in, but they treat everyone in there because I flew from Melbourne to Tassie to visit you, and I feel like no one does that. So the vibe was very much, oh, you guys know what you're doing. You're regular visitors. Like from the guards was treating everyone like they're visiting family or girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever. So they just assumed I knew what I was doing,
That
and they
often is
didn't tell
Risdon
me.
prison contributing to tourism Tasmania. That's for sure.
That's a bit of tourism, yeah. Stimulating the economy. Well done.
That
be
was
an
a fucking
ambassador.
banger. That was a banger, man. That was very good.
So I go in and they go. I'm assuming that I'll get let in and it'll be like a hallway and there'll be a guard that will take me there. They just take all my shit and they put it in a locker and they go, oh, just go in with Jim. And I'm looking for like a security guard called Jim. And it's just this guy who's also visiting someone. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he just starts walking, no guards, no hallway. We just go into the prison, into the yard. We're just inside it. And it's not obvious at all where to go. So I'm like trusting Jim with my life. I'm like, if he's trying to bust his son out, I'm helping because I won't know where we're going.
Yeah.
So I just follow him, and he does take me to the right spot. And then you and me start talking. We sit down and start talking. It's great, good to see you. But then the guy who was visiting his son just sat there for ages, and his son didn't come out at all for like
That's so sad.
20, 30 minutes. And I'm talking to you, and I'm really happy to see you, but I'm really sad for this poor man because you only get one visitor a week, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you came down for that one, that's up a minimum. And because we were having a box visit, that's why they kind of let you into that area. So where you came in wasn't the prison yard, but some like minimum rated prisoners are allowed in that area if they've got a job in that area sort of deal.
Yeah.
Whereas like I was on the other side, and because we had a box visit, they left us in there for 3 hours.
Well, that was the second time.
Oh, that was the second
The first time, I think this is when you were in the maximum one, I believe.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and then so then eventually after half an hour with no other guy, the dad sitting there by himself, this terrifying looking guy comes in. There's only about 7 minutes left. He sits down. They don't say hello at all. Dad just starts going, "Hey mate, how you going?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm good." He goes, "All right, remember this." And then he just starts going 7, 5, 3, like just reeling off numbers like code. And the guy's just like memorizing it, and he goes, "Say it back," and he says it back, and I'm ignoring the fuck out of you. You're talking to me. I'm listening to this going on. I'm like, oh my God, this is some kind of,
Was
I'm
there
hearing
a
orders or
jailbreak
something.
within a week of that visit?
I don't know. I couldn't say anything to you. I wanted to be like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah,
What's
right.
this?
I don't have any memory. I barely now. It's been so long, man. I barely even remember that first visit.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
The only thing I heard about was the riot.
Yeah, the riot was
That
good
was
fun.
sounded hectic. Fun.
Yeah, it was.
It sounded awesome.
Yeah, well, it was just because like after you're in there for a while, you're like, fuck, mundane, like something.
Yeah.
Like,
Anything to talk about the next day.
And so when it happened, it was big, the boys.
It's very Australian to be like, yeah, but we did it for the lads.
Yeah, we
So
straight up, and it was a pretty funny one. There was a. And there was
as
a
far as
break
prison
well.
riots go, it's
Oh yeah,
one of the
tell
funnier
us
ones.
about the escape.
Oh,
I
there
love
was
the
an
idea
escape.
of us escaping from a prison in Tasmania because you get out of the prison, but
then
then
you're on
in
another prison
Tasmania.
colony.
Yeah, there's been another guy that escaped once and had a boat waiting for him, and
What he was going to
cool.
do Bass Strait.
no, not the Bass Strait.
Where was he going?
I don't know.
Antarctica?
He didn't get far. He didn't get far. I think he was just going to somewhere else in Tassie. He just cruised up the side. But like, the guy that escaped, I was in the same unit with him for a while, and what he did, he actually got really fit over the course of a year. He managed to get himself up to the minimum security area.
So he trained for it.
Yeah, he'd definitely been thinking about it for a long time.
How long was
Like-
he in for?
Oh, he's in there for shooting a cop, so it's
Oh, okay,
a
life.
fair while, yeah.
That
And,
seems.
But that's the thing about prison. You can't discriminate on what people have done because everyone's in there for, like, you were probably in there for the least, like, terrible thing.
do you want
No, I
to?
broke someone's jaw, It's
Oh, should we
a bit worse
tell
than drink driving
people
and,
what
things like
really did?
He
So
just did.
people-
that. Yeah, I broke someone's jaw because they were vandalising a pub that I was doing a venue at, and they didn't go to hospital. It developed into a life-threatening infection called Ludswing angina, and he ended up in a coma for a month and woke up.
Because of the infection, not because of the punch.
Yeah, but it was
That
from
was
the broken
brought on
jaw.
from-
I've had a lot of people be like, and it's like, but I broke his jaw. I'm very grateful for the entire experience. It helped me like put a lot of things into perspective that I've been so distracted with what I do and my passion for music and life in general. It really gave me some time to sit back. I read a lot. I learned a lot about business and network marketing. And since I've got out and I've released this album, I've been more financially stable. Even though I was unstable, broken ankle, traveling the country, Corona, I was more financially stable than I've ever been in my life. So it was a massive benefit. And I haven't punched anyone since, which is, like,
Well done.
hey. And, like throughout my 20s, there were a lot of times, especially working in hostile environments where there's drunk people and people getting aggressive. A couple of times a year, I'd either have to defend myself or lose my temper in that situation and punch someone, and I haven't since.
Yeah, I almost
and
got
I don't want to ever
fucking
again.
bashed at the hip hop gig you organised. I almost got into a fight because someone was offended by my jokes.
Yeah.
Bashed. He was 5'6". He was very angry. I could see him imagining hitting me.
Yeah, but yes,
Would have punched you in the cock.
So at the end of the day, like that's what it was, you know. And I'm grateful for my experience, and I'm grateful for the impact that I've had on a lot of people in there. And
well, even giving just one prisoner a productive outlet to this shit that may have just sent him back. You know, that could have been his outlet, is getting that out in a dangerous way. He can get it out in a creative way in music and everything like that.
And I do feel like, you know, I said before, I have punched people in my past. I do have guilt for it. And I do feel, you know, like I dealt with a lot of anger issues in my early years. And I used to take it out on other people. And I felt really guilty for it. And so a big part of what I do with hip-hop is me trying to give back and also, you know, make myself feel better about things that I've done in the past.
Atone a little bit.
Yeah, and finding that balance because, you know, I'm not proud and quite embarrassed of some of my behaviour in the past, especially with, you know, the culture that we're a part of, a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, a lot of all that sort of shit, and I've been caught up in all. So, you know, to use that experience to try and make a positive impact is what helped me justify my actions in the past. With myself, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Out of everyone in that culture, though, like I've met many people in your world, but like I think from someone who's not in it, it's very intimidating. Like we like often joke that Lewis has like, you know, crazy friends and like criminal friends and stuff, and it is intimidating if you're not in that world. But the first time I met you, I think I was a bit intimidated, maybe, and then as soon as I met you, I was like, oh. Yeah, he's like the nicest dude ever. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just one of those things where I guess you live in two worlds a bit. You know how to act around everyone, and you're just like respectful and a really good dude.
That's what I try to be, man. And it's interesting, you know. Like,
it's impressive because I'd be an asshole.
And like,
if I was in your scenario.
Fair enough. But like fear's, you know, interesting like that. Intimidation feeds into that. Like it's what you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like I met some guys in there that I've heard of half my life, and I'm like, in my head, that guy's the boogeyman. 3 months later, we're playing Call of Duty at 3 a.m. on the PlayStation, you know?
Yeah.
And getting along like a house of fire, sipping cup of chai tea, you know?
I remember you took me, when I went to my Hobart show, you took me to the Housing Commission in Hobart. And I was like, fuck, this is going to be scary. And it was lovely. I had a great
nicest, most real people you'll meet. I remember you put up a photo being like, this is the real people.
Yeah, but like, say if you didn't walk in with him, would have it been as nice?
Well, that would be breaking and entering.
Yeah.
True.
No, it was great. Look, we had a great time. They showed me security camera footage of someone trying to break in and them using violence to get them away. It was a good time. It was a good time. Yeah. That's what would happen, actually.
Yeah,
they would be sitting someone else down on the couch and going, watch us bash this cut.
No, to be honest, man, I find there's a lot, like, you know, in the disadvantaged areas, people are realer, more humble. They're not caught up in that shit. There's a more sense of a community, you know. Like, Houso's, the show's pretty on point with a lot of areas, you know. And but the same thing, they've got more community than fucking the rich suburbs that, you know, only time they make awkward eye contact is putting out the bins. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
absolutely, yeah.
So
struggle brings people together.
It really does.
As bad as it is, when everyone has the same problem. Like, remember when COVID happened to the world and no one was fighting on Twitter for about 3 months?
Yeah,
because everyone had a real problem.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man.
Yeah.
Mate, thanks so much for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
This is such a great episode. You're one of the most... You're right. I think we can conclude with how we started. You are probably the most interesting person I've ever met.
Thank you, guys. And I just want to say I'm really proud of both of you and everything that you've built here. And, you know, and as you guys both work together and work individually, I'm really... You know, it makes me chuffed to see where you guys are at and how far you're going. And I'm very grateful to be, you know, on here and seeing how many awesome interviews you're doing with absolute legends from around the country and different industries. And it's awesome. It's
good to have you part of it.
Yeah, I'm very humbled to be a part of it.
All right. Well, what are you doing next? Where can people find you? What are you working on?
So I fly to Perth tomorrow night to record a new album.
Awesome.
We had a show on Saturday, but because it got locked down, the show's been postponed for a month. So we're going to Perth for a month. And then we'll be going to Newcastle and performing with Nerve at the Cambridge, July 1st. And then we'll probably be going down to Adelaide for a few weeks and doing a show down there July 10th. And then go back to Tassie and start touring it again.
Awesome. We'll put links to all of that in the description if you guys want to check it out. Thank you very much, Greeley. Check out his music, check out all his socials, and check out Kane.
Yeah, check Kane out.
Yeah.
His album will be out in September.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you so much, man. We'll talk to you guys in a few days.